ladies and gentlemen, I give you the absolute barrel-scraping interview so far of Donald J. Trump. Now, remember, there are times when presidents talk to like vloggers and little small outlets and stuff as part of like press gaggles, and it's cute, right? Because they're really, really small. And then there's like pathetic, please bail me out, small, nutty cul-de-sacs in the internet, which Flashpoint is definitely one of. And they have been wanting this for a long time, and I mean, both of these guys get their hair dyed at the same shop. I'm very excited. Let's see. Oh, and then we got to do whatever. I don't even... Okay, here we go. Oh, Jesus. They're really using that? Oh, yeah? You got a red phone on your desk? Top this, motherfucker. Yeah. If Joe Biden calls using a landline, this is it, kiddo. There you go. All right. Really, this is so fucking stilted. Look at this bullshit. This is embarrassing. What's he gonna do? Put it on a feed? Is he gonna hold it up to his goddamn ear the whole time? Or just set it on the desk on a little microphone?
President of the United States.
They just cut the bit from the clip. They just cut it. Did he have a little hello? Jesus.
Number 45, President Donald Trump. Thank you, sir, for joining us here on Flashpoint.
Well, thank you very much, Pastor. Great honor. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. All right, just a few questions. I know you've got just a little bit of time. This may seem...
Yeah, that's their way of making sure they can get rid of him.
Obvious to most people, but they need to know, why are so many in the mainstream media refusing to cover this election audit? And now more states are auditing the election results. What are your thoughts?
Aren't covering it. They are covering it. It's hilarious.
Because the media is corrupt, Pastor. You know it as well as I do, and many people know it.
Everybody knew it. You know it. I know it. Dogs know it. Everybody knows it except the rest of the world. Everybody knows it except the voters and the citizens of this great country. No one knows it who matters. Only you know it, and I know it, and neither of us have any power. My penis just turtled again.
To know it best is the media itself. They are corrupt.
Yes, they more than anybody. They know. Oh, I'm corrupt. I can't stop typing. My little corrupt fingers. Shit.
They don't tell the truth, and they are in fact the enemy of the people, and it's a terrible thing. We had a tremendous audit. It was done by the Senate, the Arizona Senate, and
no, it wasn't. It was authorized by the Arizona Senate, and it was done by cyber nincompoops.
People, and the findings were unbelievable. I mean, far.
Well, unbelievable to you because you ended up with fewer votes.
More than the votes we needed. We had a, deficit, which was a fake deficit, of about a little more than 10,000 votes.
And after we heard their review, we know that if we accumulate all the fraudulent votes, you lose 70,000 more votes minimum. So you're now behind by 86,000 votes. Congratulations for losing that many votes, because every fraudulent vote they find, dead voter, people who voted out of the state, people who voted from space, anybody who ghost votes, haunted votes, votes that floated in and voted themselves. Yes, I'm just drinking a giant glass of water in front of him with one hand just to be a dick. All the people who voted illegally in this election, all 17 of them, all Trump voters. So every other one you might find or you believe exists also voted for Trump. Prove me wrong.
They found tens of thousands of votes
that were for you and that have to be disqualified. I'm sorry. You lost by 112,000 votes.
Different categories, and it was a disgrace. So the media doesn't want to call it. I think they called it findings at the end.
Yeah.
Findings.
Yes. When you find something, you usually call it findings.
The findings were just brutal, and yet the media
Yes, they were brutal. You lost again by more.
doesn't want to report the findings. It's really a very sad thing for our country.
It is. And
Sorry, which country are you talking about? Trumpistan?
have lost respect for the media, and we're turning that
I'm sorry, when did you have respect for the media? Flashpoint? And by the way, this is Gene the Jesus Machine. If you're not familiar with the regulars on Flashpoint, I'm hoping that Lanny Walnuts is around to ask a question, but I don't think so. I think Gene stole this interview for himself. It would be lovely if Mario Scario shows up later on and reports from the middle of the street in San Francisco, which he insists on coming from, even though he hates the gays. And hold on. I'm going to have to... I know it's in here somewhere.
You know the expression? You know the expression? They come after us from every angle. They're after us. And we're here, and they're not.
Yes, you're here on Flashpoint.
But I find it very interesting. I've watched you in your rallies post 2020. What does it say? You're still able to draw such huge numbers in places like Cullman, Alabama, and Perry, Georgia.
Right. Yeah, it's weird. Those normal, such liberal enclaves as Cullman, Alabama, and Perry, Georgia. I mean, it's like you hosted the Pride Parade in San Francisco. How did you manage to pull such a giant crowd in Juarez, Mexico? Fuck, because it's free, the people are bored, and it's the same fuckers at every event. They drive to all these things.
Other elected official in history has ever come close to that. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's a great honor. They like what I'm saying. Probably that
whether it's true or not.
I'm extremely handsome, but I'm only kidding. But
we know. We know.
Like what I'm saying, and frankly, we had 68,000 people, as you know, a few weeks ago in Alabama, 38,000 in Georgia just this past weekend, and that's with Georgia playing a football game that day.
That's right.
And winning for
and then the people came over earlier.
2-0. So that was, nice. It was a good feeling in that big arena. So I would just say that they like what I'm saying. They want somebody to say it. They don't hear it much, as you know. You hear these politicians talk, and they don't want to talk about anything, and that's why our country is going so far radical left. And, some people say socialist and some people say communist. I mean, it's terrible. Part of the thing with the media is, and as you know, what happens to countries is when you lose your voice, when they don't say what's going on, that's the first step toward communism.
I see. The first step towards communism is when you don't see what's going on because you lose your voice and you're not able to say stuff. Says a guy calling in to a live streaming religious broadcast that pays no taxes and has never been kicked off of YouTube, even though that they have pushed the big lie and anti-vax shit left and right. They somehow always dodge any comeuppance. But please go on about your voice has been taken away.
Terrible, terrible thing that's happening in our country. What they don't talk about, they do talk about, and maybe even worse, what they don't talk about.
Yeah, and what they often talk about, and sometimes what they don't often talk about. And other things that they kind of mention, but other things they forgot to say when they were in the middle of it. And the worst is things they wish they'd said in the moment. And later on at night, they're kicking themselves because if I'd have told him that at the time.
Terrible.
It is. Let's go to a little bit more current this week. General.
Yeah. But I mean, enough of the past. Let's talk about something that you can turn into a conversation about the past.
He testified in Congress and defended his decision to call the Chinese undermining you as commander-in-chief, and he defended his decision to keep Pelosi in the loop. What's your reaction to all of that?
Well, he's a strongly left-leaning person. He's been there.
You know those generals who argue to keep us in Afghanistan forever. They're so strongly left leaning.
A long time in the military, but very
You mean career military, dedicated? Okay.
very left, a Democrat, and frankly, he's weak.
I have a question real quick. I know you had bone spurs in both feet, I'm presuming. Did you have more in the left or the right? Did you have more bone spurs on your right, so you accidentally leaned left? Or did you have more bone spurs in your left foot that caused you to lean right? And that's how you ended up the Republican president.
And he's been weak for a long time, and I realized that during the course. When I walked down to the church, and Gene, I'm sure you liked it, and a lot of people...
Yeah, loved it. Yeah, absolutely. Going to a church you don't go to, holding a book you never read. Nothing. Gene likes nothing more than performative Christianity. Just fake it till you make it for Jesus.
Most people liked it, but
most people liked it. Except Jesus, which is weird. Hal, you're ordained. You can probably trick King Dipshit into calling you. That's true. I am. I actually am ordained. I can, if you want me to perform your wedding, just write me an email.
Left didn't like it, and they started really hitting him. And rather than saying, I'm proud to walk with my president or the office of the president, if you want.
I didn't. Were you going to bring the whole office? I'm not. Is the Oval Office on wheels? Oh, I guess you can turn it on its side and roll it.
He was apologizing all over the place. And then very interesting.
Well, not all over the place, obviously, just once on camera. But it gets everywhere, kind of like Hal Sparks' Mega Worldwide.
You know, he spoke to all of these authors, but then he said, no, he can't talk about anything. And said, well, he spoke to all of the authors of the book. So he's turned out to be weak. And when you look at what he did in Afghanistan, I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country.
We're back to embarrassing. This is the talking point Trump really needs people to think, that this is embarrassing. Because that's the worst thing Trump can imagine, is being embarrassed. He has no shame, but he's easily embarrassed. He's icked out by gross things. He can't admit when he's sick or not feeling well or down or any stuff because it shows weakness and he'd fall apart. And people would take that as a chance to, like, I guess, gorilla him out of the way, right? So embarrassing is the worst thing that can happen to somebody, according to Trump. And just for the record, his loss last year was embarrassing.
$85 billion behind of the best equipment in the world, Apache.
Not even true.
Copters and everything. And obviously our 12 warriors, incredible warriors killed.
How many?
Behind of the best equipment in the world, Apache helicopters and everything. And obviously our 12 warriors, incredible warriors killed.
13. I don't know why all of a sudden it's 12. None of them magically came back to life. What the fuck is that? Yeah, it's the 1918 thing again? Fucking hell. It's 12 all of a sudden? It's 12. By the way, if this was Biden, this would be a talking point on the right-wing media about, from Tucker and Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity would do a whole fucking segment on Joe Biden saying 12 were killed and not 13. They would pick one of each, whoever it was, they'd pick someone and then just put their picture up and say, Joe Biden doesn't believe this person really died or doesn't care. Right? This would absolutely be a permanent talking point. One was a Democrat, right?
Many injured. We don't talk about that. Nobody talks about that, but many injured and other people killed. Could be as many as 250 people killed.
Yeah, just make up a number. While you're pretending one of the soldiers didn't die, why not just pad the numbers of the injured and killed Afghans? I mean, did you take math from Mike Lindell?
Because we took the military out before.
Right.
We asked the Americans. I mean, we have Americans.
We took the military out before we asked the Americans? Okay. All right. Does anyone... Gene, Ask if anybody around him has some smelling salts, or I think it's too late for a tourniquet, and it really doesn't work on the head if it's a head wound. Is there any? Just check. Is there spurting coming out of the front of his head?
That are actually being held captive over there. It is a
No, they aren't. No, they are not. How many? Wait.
many injured. We don't talk about that. Nobody talks about that, but many injured and other people killed. Could be as many as 250 people killed. This was all because we took the military out before.
Right.
We asked the Americans. I mean, we have Americans that are actually being held captive over there. It is.
No, we do not. No, none of them are being held captive. None. There are people who don't have paperwork, so they can leave. They're not being allowed to go because they don't have the paperwork to leave for either part of their family. And they're not willing to leave without their family, so they're trying to arrange for that, arrange for another way to get out of the country, and then negotiate to get that paperwork taken care of once they're in Uzbekistan or Pakistan or Iran or some shit like that. But this is not, I mean, they want this so bad to be Iran-Contra all over again. They're like, oh, if we could only Carter this thing, right? This is what they're begging for. This is desperately what they need to be true.
A disgrace what the military did. They shamed us. They surrendered and they shamed us.
What the fuck? You set the date. They surrendered and they shamed us? Think about that. And again, this goes to the thing. If Biden said our military surrendered, not our generals, but our military, our soldiers on the ground. Trump said it so much I think it was in the interview or in the rally. It all fucking rolls together. But basically saying they ran from guys with knives. They dropped their guns. They surrendered, or they fled from guys with knives, our soldiers. That's the story. Instead of, they followed orders, they did their job with honor, they destroyed the equipment that was there or removed it, and they left whatever gear they were supposed to leave for the Afghan military to use, and the Afghan military fell after we left, but that was up to them, not up to us, and our people served honorably and did exactly what they were ordered to do. According to Trump, they fled and surrendered, and they're weak and stupid. This is fucked up.
That's so true. And I know
No, it is not, Gene, the Jesus machine. It's not true. And you know what is true? Thou shalt not bear false witness. Do you give a rat fuck at all, Gene? About what you are a pastor. And this man just slandered U.S. soldiers, not military decisions, not military industrial complex, not if up at the top of the food chain in the military that they were making orders that the other guys had to follow. He did not. He's shitting on the soldiers, the people on the ground, pilots, drivers, mechanics. He's actively on Flashpoint shitting on those people. Thou shalt not lie is actually thou shalt not bear false witness. Lying is not a direct sin in that regard. It's not in the Ten Commandments anyways. Depends on which Ten Commandments. There's two sets of Ten Commandments. That's a conversation for another time.
They're not letting this go, sir. They're upset about it.
Who? What are they? You know what they're not upset about, Gene? Him shitting on the military. Shitting on military service people specifically.
I don't think they will.
Guys, this probably, and maybe it's because my grandfather served in World War II. My cousin is a Marine, and he became a U.S. Marshal. People have to follow orders they don't particularly like a lot of times, or get put in a situation where they wish they could do more, or they think they have a better idea about how this could have served. I have friends who served. A lot of my Masonic brothers are military vets, and these people do the best they fucking can in terrible situations. And Trump is basically waiting for the soldiers to come home from Vietnam so he can spit in their fucking face. I don't know why there is nothing on the right wing. Dan Bongino's not coming to the defense of our military. Don Jr. isn't. Glenn Beck's not. Glenn Beck isn't having a segment on, fuck, every time Trump's on, he shits on the military. He says they surrendered and ran and fled and... Oh, nice, Aubrey. Right? Have you seen a right-winger go, I think it's a little fucked up that every time Trump's on now, he shits on the military service people. Like, it's one thing to criticize the civilian leadership and the military leaders that make the decisions and think that the decisions should have been handled differently, or somebody who, a military service person who actively commits a crime, both in or out of service, like Timothy McVeigh, or anybody who goes rogue and, shoots a bunch of civilians, that kind of shit. Like, that's reasonable. But to just make up some random bullshit about the soldiers who were set a deadline to leave an area, he made an agreement with the Taliban that the Taliban would not fire on them as long as they left by May 1st. And so they started the work of getting the fuck out, because we're not going to stay there forever to hold up this government. Right? We're not making Afghanistan the 51st state. So at some point they have to stand on their own. And these military service people were told, this is the date, get your shit together, we're going to go. And they closed all the lights, they took all the gear, or they burned the gear that they weren't going to take with them, or they demilitarized it, or wrecked it, or whatever. Did what they were told to do. What they were ordered to do, and what was honorable in the position they were in. And they leave, and this motherfucker is running all over the place telling everybody that those soldiers who turned off the lights at Bagram Air Force Base, demilitarized attack helicopters and rocket systems and shit like that, took a bunch of gear that we were going to take with us, destroyed the rest of it. The only stuff they left was stuff the Afghan military was supposed to use for themselves. And those people who served honorably and protected their fellow service people who served in the military in a way that, sorry, I had to block another spam, served in a way that was decent and honorable and went the extra mile and put their lives in danger. In this case, especially in Afghanistan, for the last 10 years, for, they talk about like, the respect towards a man who plants a tree, in whom shade he will never sit. The same thing is true of the Afghan government, the schools for girls, the military, all that stuff. The military the service people, the soldiers themselves, spent the last 10 years building that up when they would never directly benefit from it. Protecting a system so that these girls could go to school and so they could have a functioning government in that country. For 10 fucking years plus, the ones that were there when they left, like this is their, whatever, third deployment or whoever, and then new people, the people who are actually there have been there a better part of a decade on and off. And those people spent a lot of time creating the situation where all those girls you hear about who got jobs and were having positions in government and stuff, that was all because of these soldiers who stayed there in harm's way doing this shit. And this asshole is slandering those folks and saying that they surrendered and shitting on American soldiers every fucking chance he gets in front of a microphone. And Gene the Jesus machine over here, and therefore everyone at Flashpoint, is nodding and yupping about this bullshit. And maybe I'm extra sensitive about it after having just visited Arlington, but fuck him and fuck him. This is gross. This is grotesque. And fuck Bongino for not coming to their defense, and fuck Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity and everybody at Fox News who carries water for this dickhead who stands by. Like, I don't expect them to like liberals or liberal plans or not shit on Joe Biden or whatever. That's expected. But this I put in the same category as these assholes beating cops and being okay with it, just writing it off as, well, they got baited into it. There was an FBI guy. We would have never beat up cops if we weren't lured into it. Get fucked.
I don't think they will let
think so
this
either.
go. I think this is going to be one of those things that they're going to remember.
All right, last question. I know you
I'm
need
sorry, I've forgotten already what the fuck you were talking about.
to hear soon. There are between 90 and 100 million evangelicals in America. And as you know, our Flashpoint audience is highly motivated part of that group. What's your message to them?
Meaning they're sociopaths who pretend to be Christians for the street cred that it gives them in certain rural neighborhoods. They sell. They're evangelical in the Flashpoint sense, in that they sell Jesus without driving the car themselves. They are someone who works on a lot selling Fords who drives a BMW home. That's what the Flashpoint evangelicals are. They sell products they don't use, and they view themselves as good at it.
Should they stay engaged with you and the nation during this tumultuous time?
So nobody has done more for Christianity or for evangelicals or for religion itself than I have.
The best part of that is pride cometh before the fall. But imagine saying that on a Christian program and the Christian host of that show going, totally, and their audience doing this. This asshole doesn't read the Bible. He's never read the Bible. He doesn't pray.
America. And
Listen
as you
to this
know,
shit.
Our Flashpoint audience is highly motivated.
They're nuts.
Part of that group. What's your message to them? How should they stay engaged with you and the nation during this tumultuous time?
So nobody has done more for Christianity or for evangelicals or for religion itself than I have. So many different things, getting rid of the...
No, not in the last 4 years. Not during my presidency. No president has done more, which is what you would say, I suppose, if you thought, I mean, holy shit, what a lunatic. But no person, yeah. I mean, I feel the need to come to the defense of John the Baptist at this point. No person, think about that. Jimmy Carter has made more Christians in his post-presidency than any preacher in the country. Guarantee it. Converted people. 1-to-1, absolutely. That people have looked at the quality of Jimmy Carter's life and how he dedicates his time and his behavior towards his fellow man and building houses for the homeless and the good work that he's done and gone, this obviously, if his faith is informing his behavior, then maybe there's something to this faith. This is just, I mean, like he literally went from shitting on soldiers to shitting on Jesus himself. And then, and Gene can't get enough of it.
Johnson Amendment, you know that? That's where people like you that we want to hear weren't able to speak because you lose your tax-exempt status, which is a...
Right, because you don't pay taxes. Now, you could always pay taxes and still be religious. See, the government can't make a church pay taxes. But a church can go, you know what, we are a church. However, free speech is worth it to us, so please give us a little extra tithe because we have to actually pay taxes on what we talk about here. And these days, for the record, Flashpoint, any of these other churches would absolutely make up that money in donations. You don't think for a second that their donations wouldn't go up and they wouldn't draw attention from a bunch of the psycho evangelicals to that particular church if they went, we started paying taxes as a business. We created an LLC for our church. That while we are a church and we are a spiritual building, we are creating we're joining the business community in how we do things simply to allow us to say whatever we want. because we are paying taxes. We are see the whole taxation without representation. You don't get representation without taxation. That's the other side of that. And the churches swap that out. You don't get representation without taxation. You are a spiritual building. You talk about life here ever after and the behavior ethically and morally on the earth plane. But you don't talk about governmental shit or pick candidates or tell people how to fucking vote and marshal armies. If you're a church, that turns you into a PAC or a super PAC, and you pay fucking taxes.
That thing, and very costly, and not even anything that you can do. But so many different things.
Gibberish.
We've done Mexico City policy. We could go down.
Mexico City policy? Sorry, I have to like. Is there a real? I can't tell if he. Oh, it's the global gag rule is what he's talking about. Okay. Trump's Mexico City policy or global gag rule, which is you can't tell people that abortion is an option if anybody, if the NGO you're working with gets any government funds from the United States. This is protecting life and a global health assistance. This is and requires foreign NGOs receiving U.S. global health assistance to certify that they do not use their own non-U.S. funds, to provide abortion services, counsel patients about the option of abortion, refer to abortion, or advocate for the liberalization. Look at that. Anti-free speech law built right in.
Of items, and I said that Biden was going to be bad. He's turned out to be far worse than anybody ever thought. You talk about abortion, you talk about all of the subjects that you do.
Yeah, just all the subjects that you do and the things that you guys are like, what you like that I want to get you to think that I like and I'm for, and what I support that the stuff you guys like, I support that. And what he wants is the opposite of what you guys want.
Sunday and all right. During the week. And he's terrible on these subjects. And he lied. And they cheated on the election. The election was rigged. This is
the only place he can go and blather this where they don't have to beep him out.
Happened. They also cheated very much on what they really think of.
Is this going to be of what, organized religion, or is he going to go to energy next?
Religion, and frankly, Christianity. And I said it was going to happen, but I had no idea it was going to be this bad. You take a look at what they're doing; it's destructive.
Sorry, what are they doing? Explain what they're doing. What are they doing? That's anti-church. Even abortion. If you're legalizing it, that doesn't preclude that the church can't make a moral argument against it. The church's job is the moral argument. The church's job is judge not lest ye be judged. Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. The judgments in this life are beyond this life. They are not up to you to take. Therefore, what you go forth and teach all nations the gospel, the good story, right? That's what it is. That's what church is supposed to be. But what they've done now is it's just a demonizing arm of the GOP. That they're sick of trying to make the moral argument because it's a failure. They don't know how to make the moral argument because on the one hand, they want people to have fewer abortions or none at all. They want to make sure that nobody has an abortion, but they don't want to do anything for people who are pregnant, and they don't want to allow people to have any protections against things that would make them pregnant against their will, for example. Short sentences for rapists, parental rights, all that kind of shit. They just did a big SVU storyline, and it might be I'm way behind on those shows. It was I was watching on Hulu or something, where Mariska Hargitay is adopting a child that was a victim, that was the baby of a victim of a sexual assault, and the rapist wanted parental rights. He was like in the middle of the thing. It was that she railroaded him into this case so that she could get the child because she really wants a child. So she was gonna, that kind of idea. And it's seemingly an argument about if you're going to look at whatever the message overall of the story was. It was a 2-episode arc, I think. This guy's trying to get custody. He's filing stuff in court, right? So that he can get, he'll get, she'll have to bring him to the prison while he's there and blah, blah, blah. And he's like a horrible, monstrous sex offender, like serial monster, just, and I'm trying to avoid saying the full words on it. It ended with him being shot. He took a officer's gun in the courtroom, tried to get out for some stupid reason, and then one of the other cops that they wanted to move to the West Coast for another show went in there and was wounded, blowing the guy's brains out, and he died. And she just gets the kid free and clear because they killed the guy, which would seem to be a rather strong statement on the storyline. It was a real feel-good ending, exactly.
Nobody's done so much for Israel as they have, as you know.
That's right.
With Jerusalem.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Like killing the Iran deal.
And frankly, ending the Iran nuclear.
Right. Yeah, and allowing Iran to get closer to having a nuclear weapon again,
which is a disaster, and all of the other things I've done for.
I do need a Learjet, and the Lord has told me that if I don't get one in my 5 to 10 year plan, I might have to wait longer. So please give heartily. Use the Venmo. Put G5 in the header so I know where to put it.
And by the way, in the evangelical community, I actually get probably more credit for that than I do with Jewish people. But Israel's a very
awkward
important element. So nobody's done what I've done, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, you do know why that is, right? Because for the hardline evangelicals, the revelationists, they're apocalyptic Christians, and they believe that all the Jews have to be put back in Israel so that Christ can arrive on Armageddon, the hillside, and on the day he arrives, all the Jews can have their throats slit because they didn't believe he was the Messiah, and then he rules for 1,000 years and all that kind of stuff. These are the same assholes who tried to sneak a nuke into Israel to put under the Temple on the Mount. That's what you're talking about. That's that strange group that seems to like it more than Jews. I can't imagine.
Do it, and they've turned out to be much worse than anybody ever thought.
Right, agreed. Well, sir, thank you for what you did with Israel. As you said, the evangelical community is very supportive, and when the embassy moved to Jerusalem, that was huge. That rocked the world, and that's truly a major.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, it really, things feel so different. I don't think there's been any tension since. It certainly has shifted the rest of the world's feeling about Israel.
Milestone in your administration. I will let you go. Thank you so much for dropping.
More of a gallstone, but sure.
Flashpoint, thank you. And on behalf of the Flashpoint Army, sir, we're behind you.
Army, okay. Onward, Christian soldiers, kneeling before Trump. With our mouth wide open, he turns around and takes a dump. There we go.
For you, and we believe the best.
You guys, turn to your page 666 in your hymn books.
Is yet to come.
Well, Pastor, you're a great man, and everybody respects you and respects your voice.
Oh, God. This is he thinks the key is flatter people the way you'd like to be flattered.
And I am one of them. I'm at the top of the list. So I just want to tell you thank you very much for everything you've done. We've had tremendous success with exactly what you do. And
it's Jesus, this sounds like Jiminy Glick. I almost kicked my cable out. And thank you, David Duchovny, for being you, because seriously, let me see. A moment of Jiminy Glick, if we can, just as a palate cleanser. There we go.
You're a overweight, frustrated, unsuccessful, stammering, stuttering, sweating, completely out of your element individual.
By the way, for the record, Jerry Seinfeld is Don Rickles going as a marshmallow for Halloween as a human being. That's what he is in real life, just so you know.
Aren't you kind? I'm sitting here with one of the great stars of Hollywood, one of the true insiders of Hollywood. Wonderful Steve Martin. How are you?
I'm good.
You were born Stephen Glenn Martin.
You've really done your research.
So that was after Glenn Gould, the wonderful piano player who would make all those memories. He made all those.
You know what?
This is, hold on. I'm going to grab a rando.
No, I think they're rude.
I guess.
Oh, yeah, this is.
Oh, I don't know. I think they're rude.
And please let me phrase this correctly, because you're a Jew.
No, I think you're wrong about that.
A Jew. Outrage. What's your big beef with the Nazis?
What's my big beef?
Yes, it seems like you're always
What's
knocking.
my big beef?
Everything you do, you're always knocking the Nazis. Oh, it's time for Mel Brooks to knock the Nazis, it seems.
The follow up on this is
I think
amazing.
they're rude.
I guess.
It's so beautiful. You're knocking the Nazis. I guess. I don't know. I think they're rude. I guess. God damn, he's funny. We love you, Martin Short. Even though you flashed me in your robe when I was on your show. Not on purpose, but I don't think. We'll have to find out. Wait, he's saying goodbye to this fucker, and it's halfway through the clip. Can I just point that out? Thank you for being here, and this is 7:22. It's a 15-minute clip. What the fuck is going on?
To have helped.
Does he just keep rambling after this?
So much.
Thank you, Gene. Bye.
Well, all right, Lance.
I'm still hard.
You heard the president. What's your thoughts?
Oh, Lanny Walnuts didn't get to talk to him. Lanny, they fucking Gene the Jesus machine. He's just stiffed Lanny Walnuts.
Well, every time I'm with him, he talks about you, Gene, so it doesn't surprise me that you got the phone call.
I'm just
Jealous. Look at him jealous. He's just grinding on the jealousy. He's so upset. Every time I'm with him, I'm not surprised you got the phone. Every time I'm with him. Look at this pissing match between these two sycophants.
Oh, there you go. I just, you heard he respects me, so I expect a little more out of you.
Well, he does, and
yeah, straighten your toop for one, out of respect for the enormity of Gene's forehead. Seriously, the man looks like a beer bottle.
And I think the fact that we should call you pastor, maybe. I think that maybe you should be maybe given that.
That's because he forgot his name. He talks about you all the time, and he calls you pastor because he assumes you're a pastor because it's a Christian thing.
Here a little more, but
that's all right.
I don't know. We see you as like the journalist pastor. You got a unique kind of hat.
There you go.
But look at this, like, death by 1,000 cuts. Lanny Walnuts just shitting on him.
You asked, though, Gene.
Thank you.
Those were very good questions.
They're great questions. They're so good. I learned so much.
Thank you very much. So, David Harris, what do you hear what he's talking about
the things that you do and the doing of the things. Don't blame me. I voted for Trump. Nice flag graphic, bruh.
He brought up moving the embassy back to Jerusalem because, that was huge.
Yeah, it was great. Didn't change anything except a couple people got killed. There was a few days, but
massive for the American Christians. And
the Christians, the Jews of the country and the Christians of the rest of the world, not so much. Got a bunch of them killed. But, the important thing is you guys feel good and you sold some books, I suppose.
It was almost like he's going to get that. He's going to do it. And then you're like, well, is he going to get it done before he's out of office? And then it's
weird. It's almost like he did that instead of getting out of Afghanistan.
Weeks, and man, they're having the opening ceremonies, and I mean, it was a huge, Get it? Huge thing that he.
Ew.
Huge. And it makes me sad too, Gene. That
Well, okay, so there's a bright side to everything. Then hold on one second. I've got to kill that window, otherwise I won't be able to. There's a yeah to end everything. Yeah.
believers didn't see what President Donald Trump was doing while he was in office,
right,
and pay attention to that more than they did the mainstream media. Unfortunately, so many believers, obviously, if we just united around.
Oh, by the way, this is his way of letting everyone know that viewership is down.
The individuals that champion pro-life. Donald Trump was the first sitting president, to attend
a what?
Life rally.
Yeah. And by the way, how close was that to him removing the rules of engagement around drone strikes entirely and allowing the civilian deaths to go up 80% in the first year, and that there were more drone strikes in his first year in office than there were in the entirety of the 8 years Obama was in office? Was he actually at the pro-life rally when he did that? Was he?
He did move our embassy to Jerusalem the last 3
Yeah, and honestly, we're still in boxes.
Presidents before him had all said that they were going to do that. They kind of held it out there as a carrot to the
yeah, like getting out of Afghanistan. Nah, this is way more important.
Community, and then they didn't get it done. He got it done, and he did it under budget. He continued
under budget. That's the important thing. He tripled the deficit from when Obama was in office, but he did it under budget.
Stand up for religious liberties, lifted the Johnson Amendment, like you said. If believers would just pay attention to the...
Well, they have been. They just saw the whole, grab him by the pussy thing, and the fact that E. Jean Carroll has a dress with his semen on it, and that he's going to have to get deposed for that, and that his son stole money from cancer charities and siphoned money from St. Jude's, and that he basically allowed somewhere in the order of 580,000 Americans to die unnecessarily because while he was downplaying something that he knew was dangerous and was rolling into the country. And apparently at this point, and by the way, I have, and we'll probably have to deal with it on Monday, a special report. Sky News Australia put out a special on the Wuhan lab story. And they are full on. You know how Sky News Australia feels about Trump. They are all in on the idea that it was a bioweapon. They're all in on that idea, that it was on purpose, that they started it at this military games, and that they were intentionally using it to poison the people from other states and spread it that way, on purpose. They gave it to them on purpose, either because, and then it got out of control, or they did it, but they attacked everybody who was at the games, foreign nationals, especially the United States, with this weird virus that then spread. So these are Trump fans, and that speaks well for his presidency.
Actions of individuals that are trying to represent us, and stop listening to especially the mainstream media, which is 90% at least, if not 95%, left-leaning biased.
90 to 95%. Do you have a chart you could show me? Like a chart that's like red lines going up that show the increase in bias on certain things, and then paired against reality and how the story actually panned out to give me that 90 to 95% thing? Or are you, as an evangelical representative of Christianity, lying?
An antichrist in nature, then we'd actually...
Antichrist? I'm glad you think that Biden is that charismatic, but I just don't think he's the guy.
Support individuals that do represent our values. So I think your interview was amazing. I always love hearing President Trump speak, and I always think
just the sound of his voice. If it doesn't even have to mean anything or even be true.
great as well that he's reached out to individuals like myself and you. We're not, you know, you're on a network. You have a very big network, and he's still reached out to you to say, hey, you know, but you're not Fox and you're not Newsmax.
Right.
But he said, I want to.
Yes, he's fallen this low. He needs all the help he can get, and he also knows he's seen the numbers on Flashpoint and the donations they get. That's what's up. That's why. He wants the people that chuck $5, $10, $20, $50, $100 at Flashpoint every fucking day to start chucking it his way. That's what that's about. That's why he's there. It's like in Tron when they had to create a branch line so they could move the ship to another thing. He had to reach down into the, you know what I'm talking about, where you could jump from line to line. He wants that connection. He wants to ricochet some of that cash that's going to Flashpoint into his super PAC, into the Save America super PAC.
The Christian community, I know what Flashpoint brings to the table, and
yeah, apparently they bring a knife, a fork, and a napkin, and expect everyone else to buy dinner.
The audience that Flashpoint has, and I want to reach out to them. So we have a president that's tried to be transparent. I think he's been transparent.
Tried. Sorry, did he try to release his taxes and he just couldn't? He just couldn't. He tried to release the grand jury testimony from the Mueller investigation. He just couldn't. He tried. He tried.
About his entire presidency, he says what he means. He does what he says.
No, he does not. And again, it's one thing if like rando YouTuber just spouts bullshit with total disregard for honesty. But you're supposed to be a Christian station. You're supposed to be at least living up to a standard that other people should aspire to.
Unfortunately, we do not have that in the White House. And like Mario has said before,
soap is overrated.
I think that it's all things work together for good. And the fact that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are in office right now, hopefully every single believer that voted for them realizes their absolute and utter mistake.
Yeah, that's not happening, actually. Not at all, really. And it's going to get worse for you guys the further we get away from Afghanistan. Because I got news for you. Biden's numbers that everybody's flailing about will be fine by Christmas. And then they're going to coast as this stuff gets passed and as we've gotten out of Afghanistan and we don't get into another war, any of that shit. Like, there's going to be supply chain problems. They're going to be dealing with, like, taxes and trade and building factories, and they're investing billions of dollars in making sure we have supply chains in the States for chips and all kinds of stuff. And there's tons of people who are going to get jobs out of that. And it's going to be painful for Republicans. Painful.
Doesn't ever let it happen again.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Why wouldn't I? I mean, I agree with your book. Hi, Chip. How are you? What you doing, buddy? I know. Come here. Come here. I know. Come here, buddy. Chip, hold on. He wants to visit for a second. 1 second. I know. We're getting long tonight, but not that long. Come here, buddy. Hi. Hello. Hello, little one. Hello. He just wants to come back again. You're just the star of the show today. You just are. Are you okay? Yeah? Are you feeling okay? Are you having fun? He's a kisser. He does. He's good with that. Yeah. Hello, buddy. Hello, buddy. I know. I'll be done in a little bit. He's such a good one. He's such a sweetie. Chip, you're amazingly sweet. Here, hop down. Sorry. All right. He's so cute. Like, it's just so, yeah. Yes, I'm going to weep like a baby missing Chip. I know that. I'm preparing myself emotionally. Unlike the Bonginos of the world, though, I don't see that as a weakness. All right. Let's continue with these fine gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, the four horsemen of the Acropolis.
Mario, your thoughts, President?
I love
You
him.
know, what I'm feeling tonight is that we're at a break.
Uh-oh. I always worry what Mario's feeling because they never show him from here down.
Point. We're watching it in New York. All of the metrics for our 10 Crusades starting Sunday show that it's going
Nice sales pitch there, Mario.
against the grain. People are coming, unifying pastors on a level they've never seen. And what?
Yeah, sell it. Oh, it's gonna Western New York, a tent revival. Yeah, because those didn't happen in the fucking 70s. This is totally different.
Speaks to is the fact that unity is creating hope and forceful repentance, and people realize they can take their country back. And
why don't they just give it up to Jesus and trust that there's a plan there and try to live their life as the most honorable representation of their religion and know that that has reverberations throughout the universe because they live a life of impermanence in Christ, in theory. I mean, I don't know where I picked that up. It might have been when I was baptized when I was 11.
At some point tonight, I want to comment on a British journalist who...
Please don't describe a woman to us all.
I think is a danger to the left, even though he...
Oh my God. Is it going to be Russell Brand? No.
...himself is a Democrat and a leftist. He represents a force that we're about to see that's going to be used of God in a very unusual way. But for this moment, what I want to say to the audience...
What? Who? You can't just drop that. Who is it? Who's, what's the dude who has the weird talk show that, that everybody's on over there? I'm blitzing on it now because I don't watch that shit. I hate chat shows and... Yeah, he does look like a dinner theater Chuck Norris.
President Trump was just with us, and he said the media is corrupt. He told you they're corrupt.
Right, so what? Why would I take that as actually real? Why would anyone?
And one of the things is that the media is not covering any events that don't fit their narrative.
No, they're not. Like which ones? Like the Del Rio Bridge, which we saw endless video of, like the exit from Afghanistan, like flooding in Tennessee, both of the bills, the difficulties the Democrats are having getting, everybody on the same page. Which part? Please name a story for real. Graham, thank you. Graham Norton. That was the one. Yes, Beth. Thank you. Well done.
That there could very well be a massive event already in progress in America that none of...
Wait a minute. In America? Massive events in progress? You mean like a functioning democracy that continues to roll on and make positive changes for its citizenry and deal with its shortcomings of the past in a major way, like a country full of grown-ups would? That kind of thing? Or do you just mean some sort of weird lightning bolt where some like odd half-shaved Sasquatch lands on Earth and goes, bananas for everybody?
Know about. There could be an outpouring of God going on right now.
What kind of an outpouring are we talking about?
Because high tech and the media is muzzling so much, we don't have any idea what may be happening right now, but I'm telling you.
Yeah, you know what? Ever since Mario got banned from Twitter, his windows don't work. Have you noticed that? Like you just go to the window and it's brick. I mean, it's a shitty apartment in San Francisco. What are you going to do? It's an expensive place to live. Of course, you're going to open your windows and see brick, but still, I blame Jeff Bezos.
Something. It's about to break. It's about to break wide
open.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Thank you, Doc. You ever serve time? You using the whole fist, Doc?
All right.
Open.
That's right.
No, it isn't. By the way, besides selling an ad for his tent revival bullshit, did that fucker say anything? Did he? Did he say anything? Did he say anything? Did he say anything? And these guys are like, yeah, oh, yeah, You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's a thing, and it's like there's lots of like there's gonna be, and it's like probably gonna like right now you can feel it. There's like a maybe talking. Yeah, I was speaking in tongues out of his own backside. This is Mario speaking in tongues.
Lance, watching.
Licking. Wait a minute. No. What? It's one thing to watch the president, but
now, because high tech and the media is muzzling so much, we don't have any idea what may be happening right now. But I'm telling you something. It's about to break. It's about to break wide open.
That's right. Lance, watching.
Yeah, licking the president. Watching the president, saying what's going on, licking what's going on in the lick my face.
President Trump there. And,
licking President Trump there. Holy shit. What a... Dude, you can't... There's too many Freudian slips in one show.
My very first guest when we first started this program over a year ago. And seeing where we've come, I mean, it truly is amazing.
It's amazing. It's a testimony to how far you can get tax-free.
To see where we've come. On the other side of that, what you said, David and Mario, the fact that he has to come somewhere that's not the mainstream media.
The fact that he look at it. I could not ask for a better send-off of this clip than we literally have a moment where Gene the Jesus Machine, Lanny Walnuts, Mario Scario, and the Trumpinator, I don't know what's happening here, that these guys are all going to admit that, holy shit, it's so bad Trump has to come talk to us. Because that's what he's saying. Like, he could... The big mainstream media outlets that should be taking his phone call, and none of them are.
Mainstream media is now us, because we're where people are getting their news.
Yeah, that's what you are. You're the mainstream media. So thanks, Gene. So anytime somebody says, like when Bongino or Glenn Beck or somebody says the mainstream media is the problem, the mainstream media is awful, they're full of lies, they manipulate people, they're trying to get people killed, they don't tell the truth, it's all science and misinformation. Anybody says that, just remember they're talking about Flashpoint from now on. Just for the record, that's what Gene's telling you.
Every one of you guys, they're getting their news because they trust you.
I didn't want to be left out of the nodding line.
They trust us, and this is the new norm. No longer.
No, it is not. This is not going to be regular. Former presidents are not going to be calling into Flashpoint. There's no point where that Obama, Clinton, Bush 2, none of them are going to, Jimmy Carter, they're not going to start. This is the place where former presidents come to bitch about the news. This is not the new norm. That's just fucking dumb.
Is it the other mainstream outlets?
It's beautiful. It's lovely.
It's lovely. I enjoy the illusion of power.
It's as long as we have the freedom we've got and we have the capitalist economy.
Yeah.
As long as we have the freedoms we've got and the capitalist economy, as long as we have the tax-exempt status and an ability to sucker blue hairs into sending us money all the time, both here and in our own churches, I can forever rub my hands together like a dinner theater Bond villain.
Can create ways.
God damn, how do you have a church and be that creepy? Honestly, Lanny, I'm just saying, you got smelly crawl space written all over you.
Working around the system. I want to remind everyone here, it's a little bit of a concept, but it's worth learning.
All right, here we go. This is going to be a tough one. here we go. Everybody got their number 2 pronsel out. Make sure you have a number 2 pronsel. And here we go.
The Reformation with Luther was initially
yes. And Luther, if you don't know, by the way, is the villain in Runaway that Gene Simmons plays. Ramsey, some people get him mixed up. Ramsey is not the Pharaoh. He's actually the character that Tom Selleck plays. Luther plays. All right.
An invitation to the Catholic Church.
Lex Luthor? No, Lex Luthor was bald. He would sometimes wear a toupee.
In the Dark Ages to reform. When they rejected it, God decided to go outside of the mountain of the Catholic Church and create his own mountain. And
that's right. It was the 2 mountains policy.
The Protestant movement. The Protestant movement was created.
And by the way, he's not talking about the regular Protestant movement, the actual growth of the Protestant church and the break off of all those things. He's talking about his own. All right.
Because a wineskin wouldn't judge itself and adjust to the truth. The media is the wineskin of
the media is the wineskin, and that would make you the Weinstein of this analogy. No, the foreskin, right.
Right now. But God is creating a new wineskin, and it's
but he must be exhausted. He's got to come up with a new wineskin every couple hundred years. These pass like milliseconds to him. He must feel like he's kind of creating a new wineskin again, because we all know God time is he just perceives. If you don't die, you perceive time very differently. It just rolls through.
Media. And into that new media. Programs like this,
yeah, the Lord has poured me into your wineskin.
Real America's Voice, programs like Newsmax, programs.
Again, by the way, we have another moment of sales. Is that in here? Yeah. We have another moment of just how do I couch bullshit around my pitching the network.
I like wood.
And find a way to get people to understand.
Deeper and longer.
That's right.
We've got on those platforms.
We need to throw in Jesse Lee Peterson. Oh my. He asked me to be on his show. I said no.
A new movement. And the people.
Yes, there's a new movement.
I like wood.
Wow.
All right.
God are going there in droves. So we're taking a little.
Well, not droves. People are going to like Foo Fighters shows and Kiss concerts in droves. They're going to like Lollapalooza in droves. They're going in small, slow-moving groups full of walkers and rascal scooters. But I get you. Okay, please continue.
To reconstruct a platform for President Trump, but trust me, there is
really that's what's happening. They're going to Frankenstitch Newsmax, OAN, Flashpoint, and I guess Gitter together into a platform for Trump. For God.
The way that God works in history, and if a sphere rejects reform when God wants it to change, he'll create a competing structure that will take it on and take it down.
Yeah.
Why didn't you just change the hearts of the in there through good works and inspiration? The in spiritu, the spirit entering it. No.
Boy, that's the truth, and we are that structure.
Guys, yeah. I was almost left out of the nodding.
We're all willing to step into that place.
No, we're not. No, I am not willing to step into that place by any means.
What?
All right.
We're doing, yeah, and it's what an honor to have President Trump on for sure.
Shit, that was it. That was oh God.